Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Welcome in, everyone, to episode 100 of Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise, the official podcast of the Hoosier State Instigators. I'm your host, as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakey Muffins. Always nice to see our fans here. Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Nice to see Night J right here in the chat for episode 100. We are happy to be here. And it's crazy to believe we're at episode 100 already. That's crazy. That's a lot of episodes. A lot of TV shows don't even make it that far. So 100 is crazy, and hopefully, we'll continue doing this for the next 100 as well. But thank you for all the fans, everybody who supported us throughout everything here with the Apex Athletic Collective and the Instigators to get this possible, make this happen here for us to be around for episode 100. And thank you to everyone as far as Patreon subscribers. You get insider access to the Apex Athletic Collective over on the Patreon, so you can get some insight on some stuff there. There's different tiers. You can get some more say with some of the stuff as far as fan voting, and now we're streaming this live, not only through Patreon, but you can also watch it through I think YouTube Live. We're there, as well as our Twitch channel now. So we've come a long way since that first episode. I was not a part of that first episode, but I joined shortly after, and eventually wound up becoming the host here. But again, this is possible because of all the fans who do continue to tune in here every Friday night, and throughout the week when you guys catch that on repeat as well, or I think you can listen to this as a podcast, like through the YouTube Music app or YouTube app, whatever one does the podcasts. So however you're watching this or listening to this, thank you for joining us. And off the top, I will just be honest. So it is episode 100. I had planned on trying to do something special. I know we had that montage. I don't know if I still got it around somewhere, from episode 50. I'm not sure. I don't think we do. But I was hoping to do something like that for this episode as well, episode 100. But I am just, like I said, off the top, gonna tell you guys, I kind of dropped the ball a little bit on that. So hopefully, maybe next week I'll have that, and then we'll have it. It'll be for episode 101, but it'll have clips hopefully from all 100 episodes. So yeah, I dropped the ball a little bit on that. Just got caught up with some other stuff, and didn't wind up having time. And then I tried to do it today. I was thinking about doing it today while at work, but I looked, and this is another thing I'll have to get figured out. So if you look at our podcast or the playlist on YouTube, and you go to the Instigate Success podcast or on the playlist, there's only 99 or 96 on there, but we've had 99 episodes. So I got to figure out the 3 that we're missing and getting that updated on the playlist as well, because that makes it a little bit easier for me to go through and figure that out. I also noticed that if you look at it, the playlist does not go 100% in order. It's 1 through 11, and then it skips to 13. Then there's like 17, 12, 28. They're just a little bit out of order. So I'll have to go through and figure that out. But next week, I would say expect a video for that. We did get the one little video this past week, if you saw that over on our social media, to get ready for season three. So that is some exciting news, though. Season three is coming up here soon. And we've got a lot of things ramping up towards the season now that we are just a couple of months away from that home. Well, not the home. Yeah, we're actually less than a couple months away from the season starting. Um, I think. I don't know. I get my months mixed up. Yeah, I think they're like a couple months away, something like that. But yeah, so we're ramping up towards the season, getting things wrapped up here as far as the off season goes. I know one of the things we plan on doing here before the off season wraps up is naming the camera. So that'll be a vote. Hopefully, we'll put up some options, and if you guys have any ideas or suggestions for the name to vote for, as far as the AI camera goes, the one that I had thrown out there myself was Rob 2.0. I know I think we've had a couple other ones tossed in as well. We'll have to compile some data and see what options are going to be put up on that vote. But that is one of the things we will have going here shortly in the next within this month, next month, something like that, before the season starts, not wraps up. The off season wraps up, season starts, and so that's one of the things. I think maybe we'll have to sit down and one of the things I thought about today as well was kind of doing like um a bracket. We haven't really done a bracket vote in a while, but maybe we'll do a bracket vote of your favorite instigators games or moments. I think that would kind of be a cool thing. I think maybe the games might be a little bit easier just because the moments, there are obviously a ton of those per game. But if we narrow it down to the games, I think that'd probably be a pretty good vote too. We can kind of do season one and then season two, and then kind of do a head to head as far as we get further into those. But just off the top of my head, there's a lot of great games for the Instigators, um, and I would be interested in seeing as far as how fans feel about some of the games because as my role as somebody that helps with the streaming and just a co-owner of this group and collective, to see some of the games, I think being there in person obviously makes a difference than seeing them streamed. And obviously me especially, I go to some of the games, but I also stream a lot of the games and then I watch the games too. So it's a different experience, I feel like, in each of those realms. So I have different emotions and feelings tied with each one of them. So I think for me, some of the games, even though they might be losses, they feel better than some of the wins, which is weird to say. So I'd be interested in seeing if fans also share that with some of those games. Obviously, I think the one that we're going to point to when you say a loss that feels as good or maybe even better than some of the wins, it's going to be those matchups that we had against the top ranked teams. So when we played against the defending champion Fury, and we're able to stay within 10 points of them and be competitive throughout the game. That's impressive to me, and I think that's a testament to the team that we have, and the leadership that we've been able to build. Um, but we've also had games. Fairly certain it was this past season. We had a win where we scored less than 100 points. I think that may have been against the Legends, if I remember correctly. But like for me, I think that's kind of the two that I would use, as an example. For me personally, if I'm voting, I think I would vote for the matchup against um, the Fury over that win against the Legends, just because of the magnitude of each of those games. Um, but I think that would be a cool thing. I think we'll wind up doing that. I don't know if it'll be um, this week or if it'll be something a little bit further down the road. But that's definitely another one of those votes that I want to put up before the off season ends. And I think that's going to be like a bracket style vote. Obviously, there's going to be some games that are a little bit easier to eliminate. So I think we will probably do it where it is like a seeding too. Um, Obviously, some of the other games that are going to be towards the top. I would think at least when we do that would be see, then that's interesting because some of the games we didn't get good footage or the footage we got was not really usable. So that's also going to impact it too. Now that I think about it, because one of the games I was going to mention is that win this season against the Lions. Obviously, going into season one, that was kind of the team, that we wanted to compare ourselves to, with the Lions being co-champions for the year prior. But this past year, they weren't originally on our schedule. It was a game that we added to the schedule, and we were able to go into the Lions home court and win that matchup. So I think that again, that's going to be an interesting vote because of the different experiences and um, different viewpoints. I think that everybody's going to have with these. Obviously, people who saw it in person, people that watched it online, and then some of these games, they may have been great games, but the broadcast may not have been as good. And obviously, that's something that falls on me and some of the other ownership. As we that's one of the things that we know we need to continue to improve on, and each season that's one of the things we continue to build on. But that's what we talk about here on Instigate Success. It is quite literally insider access to learning how it is to operate a professional basketball team, and that's one of the challenges that we have, grown through. I think it's been a lot better from where we started to where we are now. Our broadcasts, like the last broadcasts that we've done, I feel like we're a lot more professional than kind of what we started with. And eventually, hopefully we get to the point where it looks on par with what you see with the other professional leagues and professional broadcast presentations. um, Obviously the uh, you can only have so much of the weight carried by saying you have a broadcaster from Syracuse University. No, obviously that's a joke when I say that. But there's a bunch of famous Syracuse broadcasters in the sports industry. Um, so yours truly obviously is sort of included in there. But I think that's one of the things. That's one of the key things I think year to year we want to continue to improve. And then I think one of the things, especially that I feel on that side, is going into season three is kind of staying on top of that broadcasting. Season one we tried to have both of the seasons live broadcasting, live access to the games. And now I think we've got it set up so we should be able to do more similar to what we did in season one, where we had the game broadcasted with commentary live. Last season two, we were able to get the better camera and presentation, but we did not have the commentary live. It was just the live audio. And that was just, really because of the way that AI camera was set up and having us run the feed through that rather than how we had the feed going through a bunch of different things in the first season and streaming it at a lower quality. But I think we've got it set up so this season we should be able to do the live broadcast as well. So and then obviously the graphics and the little like pop-ups and infographics, stat tracking. That's obviously something we want to continue to build on and improve as far as the live broadcast presentation goes too. um, but that's all stuff we are working on going into season three. And season three, we are getting there. That it leads to tomorrow. So tomorrow, if you didn't already know, we've been blowing up social media with this. The final tryouts for the Instigators are tomorrow at the Harrison Center in Indianapolis, 1 p.m. Eastern. And it is the final chance for you to show up and show out, try to earn your roster spot on the Instigators for season 3 of the AB, or season 3 for the Instigators in the ABA season. I don't know if I were there. Season 3, yeah, whatever. Season 3 for the Instigators as we participate in the ABA. But that'll be tomorrow. If you didn't already register, you can register online. That QR code is your best way to go. It saves you $10. It's 65 by doing that ahead of time. If you show up at the door, obviously you are welcome, but it is $75 to register there instead, so an additional $10. But regardless, we have a few open spots for the roster. Obviously, we've got to get those filled up before the season. We've already got some guys we got that are interested in, and this will be the final chance for anybody new that wants to jump in and kind of earn your spot with the Instigators. We've got a couple. We got some guys signed, and actually, let me see. So we got a few guys signed. We'll start announcing some of those probably the next week or so. Um, so there's a little bit of a teaser there. And let me pull up as far as that goes. Obviously, I'm a little bit more remote. Here based in Florida compared to some of the team up there in Indiana, obviously local to the team. But I've got about 5 guys that I do know that are going to be on the roster. Obviously there's more people in discussion, and then we've got the tryouts tomorrow. So, but be on the lookout. We will have some player signing announcements coming in the next week or so. And like I said, we got at least a handful of guys that I see on my end that I know are signed. Um, so there's still plenty of spots there for guys to get locked up with the Instigators and sign a deal to be a professional basketball player. So that is tomorrow. Final chance, final opportunity to show up and try out for the Hoosier State Instigators. I know I mentioned in the past a couple of times we had somebody that I had been talking to, trying to get out to that event. Scheduling wise, that's not going to happen, and it is wasn't somebody that was necessarily going to be really trying out for the team. It was more or less for some uh, you know video and some promotional type stuff. But he'll still be involved at some point, I'm sure, with the Instigators here as we go into season 3. Um, and I love this question by our guy Night J, right? Who will be the celebrity player this year? So the first 2 seasons we had talked with people trying to get them as a celebrity player. Obviously that's one of the cool things about the ABA is that it has this unique rule where for the home games you can have that additional roster spot for a celebrity player. Obviously, they added a little bit more stipulations the second season past year with the ABA, but the first season we were kind of trying to feel things out, so I think we kind of knew that was something that we thought would be cool and wanted to do, but it maybe necessarily wasn't something we had um, fully fledged out at that point. But something we had interest in doing and trying to get stuff arranged. And then going into season two, we had a few different people that we had been interested in, and they had been interested in possibly doing it. And a lot of times it's just so difficult to get everything to line up 100% properly for that to all come to fruition and follow through and everything like that. Obviously, with it being that celebrity player, it's not going to be somebody that's on um, the roster, say, for full time. It is quite literally supposed to be a celebrity or somebody that can um, be used as as a celebrity in sorts. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a celebrity in the sense of like like uh an actual celebrity. Like it doesn't have to be Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee, or anybody like that. Although that would be awesome if those type of guys want to show up to the games. Um, and then obviously there's some stipulations. Now with the past year, they added a little bit more that you can't use it necessarily. That what do you call it? Celebrity player as an advantage because some of the teams had done that in the past. So that also kind of tied our hand a little bit more because of the type of people that we had been talking to. Because I think if we go back a couple of seasons, our season one of the teams that we had played was the Clarksville Phoenix. They ultimately wound up knocking us out of the play-in tournament. But I do remember at least one of their games, they did have somebody signed as a celebrity player um, that had experience as a Harlem Globetrotter. So that type of stuff, I think the league had try to like kind of steer away from now. Um, but I don't think many teams are going to be going out there signing many of these guys that are going to be NBA players or anything like that. Even though as cool as it would be, if we could sign an NBA player or even an ex NBA player. Imagine like Roy Hibbert shows up as a celebrity for the Instigators. Obviously that's not something that's happening and has not been discussed. But just throwing a name out there, an Indiana Pacers guy, uh, you know, would be cool. So if for some reason Roy Hibbert is watching this or comes across this at some point, get in touch with us. We'll see. Maybe if we can bend that rule to get you out on the court as a celebrity player or involved in some other capacity. But I think we will, for the first time, have a celebrity player for this season. So season three, we've got somebody that is pretty much, it's not 100% confirmed, but very, very close. And when we put out the schedule, I think that's when we're going to be able to hopefully finalize that. And then, at least for that one game, kind of publicize that too and make that as an official public announcement. That way, everyone knows we have at least one secured. Um, and that I think will be more so used as that celebrity piece. Obviously not going after NBA players, stuff like that. Um, but somebody that I think will bring a lot of attention to the game and the instigators, and somebody that is excited for that to do that as well. And I think that their fan base as well would be very open to this opportunity too. The other flip side of that, with it being the celebrity player and how you can use that, it's also a little bit lenient. So that may open the door to some alternate possibilities, which is something that we kind of tossed around a little bit last year, where maybe something that we could do in the future, if we had a partnership with foundations or a sponsor in particular that wanted to do kind of like either a raffle or a giveaway or something along the lines of that, where they could nominate somebody to be the celebrity player. So whether that's somebody that represents the charity or something along the lines of that. That is one of the other things we kind of had tossed out. Obviously, there's a lot of logistics you have to work out with that, but that is something I think would be pretty cool as well to see happen on the court. And then that also kind of ties it together with the community. I think if you do have kind of a local person there on the team and as a celebrity. The other one that we had thrown out there was if the owners did kind of like a 1v1 tournament, and the best owner, or the winner of that tournament, winds up suiting up for one of the games as a celebrity player. Obviously, I'm a little biased on that one. I also think that would be pretty cool. But I think, at least in some form, one shape or way, season three will be the first time that I'm fairly certain we will have an actual celebrity player designated. Um, I don't know if we really use that rule yet just to have like an extra roster spot, but there is a possibility of doing that too. If we have additional guys available for the home games too. So that is the other option too. Um, but that's not necessarily. I don't think that's something that we had used in that way before. Um, but no, definitely season three. I don't know if you can bet on the AVA or if you're supposed to, or if an owner should be talking about that. But if I were a betting man and I was betting on if the Instigators have a celebrity player in any of their games for season three, I would put my money on yes. That's what I can say about that. But I feel fairly confident this season we will have that. Once we get that schedule out, which is hopefully going to be out here in the next month ish. So hopefully a little bit less than that, but within the next month or so, we should have that schedule out. Just a few more things to get finalized, but we're very close to having that out and published. Once we do that, a couple of things we just got to get worked out on our end with the person that we are in talks with. But I'm very certain that is going to go through. And obviously, when that does, we're going to be blowing that up on socials as well. So definitely you'll see announcements for that. And not only, I don't think it's just going to be, I guess this is a little bit of a teaser too. I don't think it's just going to be a celebrity player appearance for the game. I think it's going to be like a theme night. So that's your little teaser as far as what we are cooking up. One of the things we are cooking up for season three. So I think that might be like a fully fledged theme night, as in the sense of like a night dedicated to something in particular. I don't know if we've had like a full on theme night before for any of our games. I know we've had I guess we kind of had, like the opening game with the kids get in for free in the past. I think that was season one we did that. We had the money maker contest for season one as well. Um, but that was more or less like a halftime event. And also that's one of the things. Hopefully, we're able to get um, some kind of halftime entertainment. I don't know if we necessarily will be able to get that, but that is one of the other things that we have at least talked about, possibly doing a little bit different going into season three. Obviously, we're still going to have, I think one of the kind of the traditions that we've seen in the previous seasons with the Instigators is having the kids and the fans on the court as well, and interacting with the players. That's still something that will happen, but I think maybe it is for some of these half times, maybe something we could do as well to try to get some halftime entertainment for those at the venue. And then obviously, normally with the broadcast, we do have like kind of a halftime commentary session, but I'm sure we could cut in for some of the halftime performances if we get those. But that's some of the stuff to look forward for in next season, season three coming up. And for a little bit longer, we still have that early bird season ticket promo running. It's 49.99, and again, that's only for a limited time. You can scan the QR code there, or you can go over to our passage site, and get tickets there directly. And like I've said, it's a great deal. It is quite literally half price, so you get access to all of our home games. We have 10 home games, and a reminder this year for the season, it's set up a little bit different as far as the ABA kind of regulating which of the teams we play. We have to play more of the teams that were in the same rankings as our team in the past year or so. So 10 home games, 10 away games, and then any of the home play in or play off games you'll also get access to with that season ticket. So great opportunity to go ahead and get your season ticket now for that discount. It is equivalent to the price of 5 games, so you're only paying for half of those games. And it's also a great deal, even if you don't think you'll be able to make it out to all of those games. If you think you'll make it to at least 5 games, that right there already pays for itself. If you make it to 6, 7, 8, you're saving money that way. So and then obviously if you make it out to more than that, make it out to all the games, definitely worth it. But if you're even thinking about going to a few, you might as well get that season ticket. That way you can show up whenever you want, and you already got your tickets. So, and one of the good things about Best Choice Fieldhouse that we've talked about numerous times is the wonderful fan experience that it does have. Everybody has access to front row seating. You can pick and choose wherever you want to be. We are still looking and taking auditions for our very own version of Spike Lee on the court. So if you are interested in becoming that fan, get your season tickets, and we look forward to seeing you out on game day at Best Choice Fieldhouse. But you can have front row seats, on the sides as well as under the baskets as well. There's seating there, and then there's also a walking area if you're the type of person that doesn't want to have the seat. Got it all covered. Anywhere you want to go, you can. And it is a great viewing experience, regardless of where you do choose to watch it. And it is an intimate atmosphere as well. One of the things that I have really enjoyed as far as being a part of these games that I make it out to, not only for the past season, but in season one as well, is just the intimate feeling of the crowd in these type of games. You can really feel the passion that these fans have for the Instigators. Just as happy as you are when they have those big fast breaks and slam dunks, crowd goes wild, and you can hear it on the broadcast. They also get just as upset when you got some turnovers and swings in the score. So it is fun, and like I've said a few times in the past. I think basketball especially is a game of runs. So that momentum swing each way, and the crowd especially plays a huge role in any basketball game, in my opinion. So anytime we can get fans out to these games and fill up the crowd, that is what we want to happen because that momentum and the crowd and the fan interactions, I truly believe, do have a great impact on the performance of the team. So that is one of the things I love about basketball and the Instigators especially. And we've even had a great following of our fans in some of the away games as well. Carrying that fandom over to those games, and you can still hear our fans cheering in these away games. It's just something that I think is awesome to see, and to know that we are a team that does travel well too. But we got that schedule should be up in about the next month or so, in the month maybe. So be on the lookout for that. But starting this week, we will have some announcements for players. I know I'm working on some graphics. I think we'll probably have some announcements coming up here in the near future for sponsors as well. So a lot of fun things, a lot of cool things to see here as we ramp up towards season three. Um, Obviously, still got to get some things finalized and get everything set. Obviously, that starts tomorrow, though, with the final tryouts. After that, we are closed up, and we already have a good talent pool, that we're already looking at. But this is going to be the last chance to add to that. And if we've got guys that ball out tomorrow, you can get an offer on the spot. So it is the last chance, and it is quite literally you could possibly earn a spot on the roster tomorrow. So we got that player pool of guys we are still interested in, but if you jump out more than those guys on that list, you're going to get that offer tomorrow. So it is a great opportunity for anybody that's interested in possibly even entertaining becoming a professional basketball in that area. Obviously we're based in Fishers, the tryouts in Indianapolis. Um, so it is a great opportunity for that. Um, but we'll take a little break here from the Instigators news, and we'll jump over and do a quick update here on the Ballers. The Oakland Ballers, one of the other teams in the Apex Athletic Collective group. That is our baseball team. So let's jump over to their site and hope that they do not ask me to verify that I am not a robot, because I failed that test last time, and I also failed the test again today, um, when I had tried to pull their website up. Yep, so we got up there. Luckily, they did not ask me if I was a robot yet, but we shall see. So Oakland Ballers, they have been quite literally balling out, and have been on a very long hot streak there. Halfway through the season, they were the halfway champs. That locks them into the playoffs. And we had talked about that rest versus rust discussion, possibilities of keeping the starters or resting the guys every once in a while. And they just have been lights out. And you can see there all those W's for the Ballers. And I mean, some of these games are crazy. It's baseball, and we've got 11-8, 11-4, 14-4, 17-9. Some very high scoring games. But it looks like last week they wrapped up their series against the High Wheelers, and it looks like they swept them except for that first game. So they dropped the first game of that series, on the first game that was away. Everything other than that for both the away, and then they swept the home series. Now they're at the Rocky Mountain vibes, and it looks like they are going back and forth, back and forth in these matchups. So 7-5 win on, what was that, Monday, Tuesday, the 12th, and then a big loss there, 16-1, which is surprising. That's not something you typically see with the Ballers. A big loss like that. But then they came back and rebounded with a 17-4 win. And right now, today, it looks like that game is underway. And the second. Oh no, they are asking if we are human. Curtains. I think I can pass that one. Okay, I did pass that one. The hats confused me last time, apparently. Curtains I did okay with. But we see here, oh, it looks like it is actually in the bottom of the fourth now. It must have been the old, must have been what I had gone on earlier. So we see here it's 3-3 tied up right now in the bottom of the fourth. Two on base, two outs. So close game going on there for the Ballers. Obviously, we will be cheering them on. But you can keep track of the stats here on their website. I do know you can also buy a subscription to watch their games live as well, which is always a fun option. And I think maybe if we go to this, it should tell us what their, yeah, that shows what their current record is. So they are currently 58 and 17. That is a very good record still. Um, on the season. And that's actually interesting. Just looking at box score, obviously there's a lot to dig into anytime you look at that. But 17 runs off of 16 hits. So more runs than hits. Obviously, just looking at this quickly, you can see how that's possible is a lot of walks there. So that definitely can do that. Um, but that is a little insight there on the Ballers, still balling out for the season. But that'll do that. But always fun to jump in there and check out what the Ballers are up to. Um, that's one of the things we would also like to do in the future is to get a Ballers podcast. Hopefully we can have 100 episodes of a Ballers podcast in the future too. That is one of the things that us as the group, the Apex Athletic Collective as a group, we want to continue to do is dive in deeper into more sports. Obviously, this podcast here, which is on episode 100, is specifically for the instigators and the kind of the maybe I guess you call them growing pains, but the inside look at what it is to operate and build an ABA franchise. Um, we've got the other broadcasts that we've been doing monthly. Um, Over on the Dark Web Wrestling YouTube and the Apex Athletic Collective Twitch here. Dark Web Wrestling, that's a new monthly show stream as well. But we want to continue to expand and build our broadcasting and have options for you guys to watch stuff hopefully every day at some point. Um, and good to note, I'm not always on top of this stuff. So playoffs start in about a month for the Ballers. So it is okay, September 11th and 12th. So yeah, just about a month away until playoffs, and they're locked in. Like I said, with them having the best record at the halfway point in the season. So we'll definitely be tracking that, and they still remain hot. So I would have, for a second year team, I guess we're going to have high expectations, but that is obviously that's one of the things we want to have is a podcast for that eventually. I know we dabbled with the AI podcast a little bit for the people that were in like a Patreon exclusive thing, where we kind of fed the robots some footage of the games and kind of let them go and determine what was going on and have their own version of a podcast. So I think that might be another thing we continue to build on in the future too. Um, but we also have amateur night. That's that'll be back here. I think in a couple of weeks. I think scheduling wise, but that runs. We've been running amateur night during the day on Saturdays at like 1. But in a couple weeks, I think that's going to be back. And we've been running baseball this year. If you haven't watched that, kind of tying that as well towards the, ballers as well, with that being baseball. But we have another show in the works. I don't know if it'll be amateur night or if we'll do a different show title for it, just because I don't know if it's 100% amateur or not. But we had been talking about doing a show with a roller derby esque show. So that'll be fun whenever we get around to doing that. But that's another project for broadcasting as well. Um, and the streaming side of things go. Um, but and then I think we had even talked about expanding amateur night. Hopefully, if we can get some footage of some of the other sports that we had talked with some people with that, we can expand that to add another sport to amateur night. Obviously, first season around, we had the Gold Cup, and that was basketball. Kind of more on brand with the Instigators type of stuff. And then this season, we are doing the baseball streams with the Penguins. So I'm sure we'll continue to have amateur night and eventually expand that um, branch as far as sports go. Um, but as far as broadcasting goes and streaming, that is one of the things. From where we were in episode 1 to where we are now, we definitely have some more streaming options, and continue to build that platform and our library. Um, but another thing that we work on. Um, but even though I didn't have that montage together or anything more than just this simple graphic I threw together today, that 100th episode graphic there. I think we did have a good dive deep here into the ownership experience, building the team, and how we all, not only just as owners but as fans and as fan voters, have helped build not only the instigators to where they are now, but the Apex Athletic Collective um, as a general to where we are now, as we celebrate our 100th episode of Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise, our first podcast, our first show. Obviously, we've had a lot of things change since the very beginning, but it's all possible, and you keep it going because of all the fans here. So I really appreciate everyone for joining us, not only today for this broadcast, the special 100th episode, but for everybody who has been a part of this journey here with the Instigators and the Apex Athletic Collective. Um, but I think that's pretty much the news I've got for you guys tonight. Like I said, I'm going to try to put something together throughout this next week. But keep an eye out. We will have tomorrow. Last time I'll be able to throw this graphic. Not last time, because I'll pull it up next week too. But the last time it'll be for an upcoming tryout, because tomorrow is the very last tryout for the Instigators. Again, that is at the Harrison Center in Indianapolis tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Register online for $65 or show up at the door and it is $10 more, regardless. If you think you got a chance to be a professional baller, show up and show out at the tryouts tomorrow. But some of the stuff coming up this week, like I said, keep an eye out. I think we're going to start rolling out, because we'll have that tryouts wrapped up and we'll be doing evaluations and such with, coach. Probably going to have some player announcements this week. Think we may have a sponsor announcement here shortly as well. And then also schedule coming up in the near future. So lots of things to be excited for as an Instigators fan. But that'll be all coming up here in the near future. be on a lookout for all that. We'll obviously post that on social media. So whether you're following at Hoosier State ABA on Instagram, if you're following us, Hoosier State Instigators on Facebook, wherever you're following the Instigators, that will likely be posted on there. And then we'll be talking about all these types of things as well on the podcast as we make announcements on them. Um, and then I think we'll also maybe give we'll post this stuff on our Patreon too as well. Um, but one of the other things that had got mentioned, I think this will be the last tidbit of information as far as this week's episode. Uh, Frosty Corey had mentioned in the past, maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. As far as rebuilding the website, that is something that will also be happening before the season starts. And he gave myself and a couple other people a quick inside look, I should say, of the app or the web app that is being built for that website. It is pretty cool. That is all I'm gonna say. But it's pretty cool. It's a lot. I think if you look at that compared to what our website had been, it's going to be a huge step up. I really do think that. And I think when you guys see that, when it's all finished up and we're able to finalize and publish that, um, I really think you guys are gonna enjoy that. Um, lot cleaner, simpler as far as I think the layout, and it's a lot easier to navigate and kind of find just that instigators news you are looking for specifically. If you want to know the schedule, it's pretty easy to figure that out. Same with who's on the team. If you want stats, merch, whatever it is, it's a little bit more streamlined as far as all that goes, and it's a nice layout, I think. So, but like I said, that's gonna be the last teaser of information for tonight's episode. But again, if you or anybody you know is interested in trying out for a professional basketball team, they have one last chance tomorrow at 1 p.m. in Indianapolis to try out for the Hoosier State Instigators for their very third season in the ABA. Um, But that is going to do it for tonight. Thank you again for everyone joining us for episode 100 of Instigate Success, building an ABA franchise. Truly do appreciate each and every one of you. And, we would not be here without you guys. Um, and we will be back again every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on Patreon, on YouTube, and on Twitch, whichever way you do choose to join us. We will see you there. And until then, as always, be great and instigate.